question from fans. One was how to strike when you are gassed out. That's a good question. Now, first of all, you shouldn't be tired, right? So preparation is everything. Now, if you did train very hard and the fight is just high energy, just know that your opponent is also tired. He might just be better at hiding it, but it's always a good thing to know. Now, if you simply are having a bad day or you ate or took something that you never did before a fight, trust me, it's going to be that. Like I always say, watch out with shellfish and lamb meat. Can make you build up more lactic acid. Now, it's not bad for you normally, only when you exercise. So find that out before you eat it, before a fight, because that's not going to be good. Another one for me personally is getting a massage a day before the fight or for a workout. To me, it makes me feel worse. Acupressure is fine, massage somehow not. But again, that's also for me. Now know also that it can only take one good shot to win by knockout. Like I talked about my second fight in Pancras. I was done. I almost tapped, ego took over, and what do you know, 30 seconds later, I need him to deliver, and boom, I won the fight. And that's when I learned a very valuable lesson, to never think about quitting again. Now, gassing and how to stop that, I will talk about it at the end of this video, because that's about inspiratory muscle training, which is the Auto Trainer, a product that I sell. And now you're going to go, oh, he's trying to sell that. So let's first talk about this. And then at the end, you can simply stop watching, right? After I answer this question. So let's now talk about how to hit when you are tired. Now, first of all, movement. You're going to need movement to catch your breath. Oh, yeah. And this is a very simple and important rule. From now on, in training, in your 1 minute break, I want you to use footwork and just move around and learn how to catch your breath that way. Now, this is going to suck for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then your body is already adapted, doesn't know any better. And now you'll be able to catch your breath while moving around, which is a pretty good skill to have if you're in this situation. Now, every shot is going to count. Stay away from kicks because they cost way too much power. I can do 10 rounds on a focus match only using my hands, and I will not open my mouth. But once the Thai pads and the kicks get introduced, oh yeah, I will open my mouth because I need more air. Now watch the video on this channel, The Secret to Maximum Punching Power, because once you're tired, you don't want to waste any energy, meaning with straight punches, you have to have your back foot on the floor when you strike in order to put your body weight into the punch. Now, there's no other way to put your body weight in there. As I always say though, can I knock somebody out standing on one leg? Of course you can. You know, at the right time, right moment, you can knock anybody out. But if you're gassing, you're gonna have to make every shot perfect, right? Every shot needs to count. I mean, you don't wanna waste any energy, right? Now with hooks, it's 2 feet on the floor at the moment of impact to put your body weight in there. And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch that video that I just mentioned. It's a super important video. So movement. Stay outside his reach, and I mean stay far away from him. Move always to the sides, never straight back. Don't have a pattern, so don't go left only, right only, or left, right, left, right, left. That's a pattern. Now keep your hands low. Low, yeah, you're at a safe distance. Because when your hands are low, what's going to happen? Chances he wants to hit your head, very super high. But again, you are at a safe distance. Make your opponent reach for you. He's getting annoyed. You're moving back. Because then he starts overcommitting, which will give you better openings for counters, of course. Now don't attack. Let him do all that. Catch your breath while moving and start looking for his mistakes. And then when he overcommits to, let's say, a cross, just move backwards with a parry and a cross of your own. Now the parry is the load up for your cross. It's literally you goes fast. Very hard to do on the chair. And then movement. Catch your breath again. Now if it goes to a clinch, watch the video on this page named Fix Your Knee Strikes Fast with this tip. Because if you're using your stupid half-ass knees that you use in the gym, that's not gonna work. I was dead in my second fight that I just talked about, and I dropped him with a knee to the body. So make it a good one. Watch that video. Now when you're moving backwards, use diaphragmatic breathing, not chest breathing. Big breaths through your abdomen. Just remember, 4 to 6 of these breaths, shoulder raising breaths, they pull in the same amount of air as one diaphragmatic breath. So breathing correctly is very freaking important. Just move and use that breath. Use that breath. Aim for your shots and then hit him. Aim for your shots. That's logic, boss. Yeah, no, it's not logic. A lot of fighters don't do it. Are you making your punches straight or are you punching in an angle? Sounds logic again. Straight punch is a straight punch, but if you hit in an angle, the only thing I have to do, you're going to miss me. But a straight punch forward, you can move backwards and it's still going to connect. Now let's talk about gassing, okay? So here we go. If we talk about gassing, we have to understand how endurance works. So how does endurance work? Endurance, well, it's simple, Bas. If I work out really freaking hard, I do this not too crazy, like 4 times a week, extremely hard, and I give myself my body rest and time and protein, it recoups, and my shape gets much better. Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah, but what happens inside the body? Why is this happening? There's got to be a reason for it. Well, the reason is very simple if you think about it. When you work out a muscle over and over again, that muscle becomes more efficient at its job. And the word efficient already says it. It uses less oxygen. Oh, and therefore your stamina increases. Okay, that's cool. What about gassing? What's happening there? Metamorpholex, that's the word for gassing, right? When you start gassing, so let's say you're punching, and suddenly everything starts to slow down and your arms and your shoulders, everything is getting tired. At that moment, your body actually starts taking away oxygenated blood from your punches and from your strikes. What the heck, dude? I'm working out. I need these muscles. Come on, give me some oxygen. Yeah, but the body is not crazy. It sends it to the number one priority in your body, which are your breathing muscles. Because guess what? 3 minutes without breath, you might be dead. 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, but breathing is the number one priority. So it takes away the oxygenated blood that goes to your hands or whatever muscle you are using at that time, and it sends it to the number one priority in your body, which are your breathing muscles, your 11 pounds of breathing muscles, I should say. Yes, you have 11 pounds of them. What are your breathing muscles? Your diaphragm, which is a thin dome-shaped muscle tendon, and then your intercostal muscles. Your external intercostal muscles are actually responsible for inhaling. But why do you need these muscles? My lungs are doing all the work. Your lungs don't do crap. They don't do anything. They're just 2 bags, 2 plastic bags. Just think of it like that. Really? Yes, really. You see, the way your muscles of your lungs open is by chest expansion. Chest expansion, yeah, your chest expands. That creates a vacuum between your body and your lungs. And that vacuum actually sucks open your lungs. That's weird, right? Yeah, that's very weird. So the chest expansion is done by your breathing muscles, which are your diaphragm and your intercostals that you just talked about. Yes. Oh, so why don't I work out those breathing muscles, those 11 pounds, so they don't have to steal the blood anymore from the limbs that I'm using at that moment, and my stamina increase. Bingo! There we go. Yes, that's why every freaking Olympian endurance athlete is using inspiratory muscle training. Listen, if you don't believe it, don't believe me. Go to a published medical journal website and punch in PubMed. Go there, punch in inspiratory muscle training. There's so many published medical journals, over 1,200 published medical journals about inspiratory muscle training. You can also go to my website, o2trader.com, and then you click on science, and then a drop-down menu comes with published medical websites, and then you can read what it does. But really, once you're on that site, I would suggest to just punch in inspiratory muscle training and see what happens. And then read, because you won't find one bad thing about it. The more your chest can expand, the more air you'll be able to pull it in. So there's another thing, and I'm going to make a video about it. I already actually did, how to increase your stamina pretty much immediately before a fight. So now you did all your workouts, you're at the day of the fight, and then I can tell you right now that I can increase your stamina by at least 10%. 10%, that's a lot, Yeah, that's for the people who don't really stretch their chest. If you don't stretch your chest, which I think at the time, when I didn't know anything about breathing, I thought I was stretching my abs, but I was stretching my intercostal muscle. Imagine this, if your chest is flexible. So if you do a hard weight workout, right, it becomes all tight. It's very hard for your chest to expand. It's going to cost you more power to expand that chest because all these muscles are tight. So once you start stretching your chest muscles, and you can do this with a yoga ball. I used to do it with my coach, my manager actually, because I never had a coach. And he would put his back against my back in the dressing room. We would hook arms, and then he would lean over, and I would lean backwards, and I would feel my abs stretch. That's what I thought I was doing at the time. But I was also stretching my intercostal muscles, the muscles in between my ribs. and they became more flexible, and that helps tremendously. So even if you don't use inspiratory muscle training, please do that. I don't understand why these strength and conditioning coaches, strength and conditioning coach of the year, but he doesn't pay attention to conditioning. That's weird, right? They all should do inspiratory muscle training, and they all should stretch their freaking intercostal muscles, because the difference is just crazy. So check that out. Just do the stretching. Doesn't cost you anything. Lean on a chair, this chair, just lean on backwards and hold that for like 30 seconds and do that 4 or 5 times. And do that before you start doing a conditioning workout, and you see what happens. It's like kicking a bag, right? If you have to throw 100 head kicks or 200 head kicks, that's going to be tiresome. You think it's important to maybe stretch your leg muscles before you do that? Because when they're looser, it's easier for you to throw them up. They use less energy. Well, see that the same as your chest expansion. And that's the way you breathe, guys. So it's very important that you actually are stretching. All right, that's about it. Gassing, make sure you're always in shape, and work out your breathing muscles. That's what I would do. And by the way, if you do buy an O2 trainer or an inspiratory muscle trainer for any other brand, doesn't really matter what you do, because they will work. But it needs to be not a respiratory muscle trainer, an inspiratory muscle training. There's a big difference. Don't do that. Inspiratory, look for that. And if you do it, it takes only 4.5 minutes a day. But if I really stress my breathing muscles, which I do early in the morning when I walk the dogs actually, and right after that I do a conditioning workout, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, it's going to go bad, right? It's like me, you have to walk 500 steps of stairs, and I say, you know what, I have a smart idea. Let's do some freaking squats with 200 pounds, like 50 reps, and then I'm going to walk the stairs. You think that's going to be productive? Nah, it's not going to be really productive. After 6 weeks, when you train your breathing muscles, now they're updated. Now they don't have to steal blood. Now all that stuff doesn't need anymore, because they have more energy. They're more efficient at its job. And now I'm actually doing it before I do an endurance workout. I literally do only 20 breaths instead of 40 that I normally do. So I do half the amount, but I warm up my diaphragm, because preliminary studies have been saying that your second wind is actually your diaphragm being warmed up. And I noticed a big difference. So before I do any endurance, I just 20 breaths with the O2 trainer, warm those muscles up, and then I go into an endurance workout. But if you bought the O2 trainer, you do a whole 4.5 minute workout, and then you do endurance, it's going to backfire on you. Wait 6 weeks, so maybe do it after the workout, and after 6 weeks, you can do it before the workout, and you're going to fly. That's it. I'm sticking to it. Godspeed. And breathe on. Whoop, whoop, bonk.